And we're back to another Creative Leadership. My name is Rembert Mortimer, Public Relations and Brand Coordinator at UB, and this is a show that's created for alumni by alumni to encourage alumni to come back. And surprisingly, we have a great guest today, one who is ambitious. I heard she's a lawyer. She settled down too. So we know when we look on our files, this last name mightn't be your name. So I'll need your correct last name back then so I get updated. But tell us who you are.
Yes, my name is Arinthia S. Komolafe, and I am the Deputy Leader of the Democratic National Alliance.
Okay. The DNA. Right. So we don't want to focus too much on that. Right now, I want to talk about your alumni experience, your alumnus experience. So you walk through campus.
Yes.
You know the university is renovated. I'm from COB. These youngsters, they talk about UB. I'm from COB, so I know about sitting on the trees. They got cabanas and they got benches. They got a calf. They got McDonald's when they got options. So talk about your UB alumni days and compare it to what you just experienced walking through the campus.
Well, I mean, it's a complete transformation. I mean, the evolution has just been significant since I've been here. It's literally been years since I've been
Are we talking
here on
decades
the
or?
Well, not decades, but we're certainly past a decade.
We got a Lord Jesus, we got a hill.
You know, actually, this year will make 2 decades.
Wow.
Right? Yes.
Wow, man.
So I entered the College of the Bahamas back in 1997.
Okay.
When I finished high school, I entered in the fall semester of 97, and I was studying accounting. Mm-hmm. You know, it was my first. And when you find me in the records, I'll be there under Arinthia Santina Brainen, Braynen. And I was studying
Santina
accounting.
is SANTINA. INA. And then dash and then something else?
No dash.
No, just Santina.
Yes.
Okay. So we could look for a donation of $100 this year. Let's go work it. All right.
That's cool.
So you walked through. How was your experience back at UB back then?
Well, I mean, really, it was a significant change for me coming from high school, obviously. It was a different experience. One of the things that I like, you come from 13, 14 courses down to 5 courses.
Yeah, that's good.
But, you can be fooled by that as well because it's 5 courses, but it's 5 heavy courses.
That is true.
I did student development, which I really appreciated. With that,
it wasn't called counseling back then. It was student development.
It was student development.
Boy, you older than me.
Yeah. And, when I was here, courses were $25 a credit.
The Lord.
I paid $75 a course.
Boy.
Right.
Then they add VAT.
We didn't have VAT back then. Right?
Man.
But I understand what you're up to now. $150 or $200 a credit?
We have a student I met. I want to introduce her now. So we got Siobhan Green in here, and we got Miss Jasmine Cawley in the background. That's her voice you hear. And they're just gonna keep me linked to the campus. I can't assume I know what a student right now is going through. So I want to ask Miss Green over here, hearing this alumnus come back and talk about cost reduction and how cheap it was from 20 years ago. How does that make you feel as a current student?
Well, currently I'm a scholarship student, so
Whoop, whoop.
Excellent.
Paying for classes isn't really. I can't really say that I connect with that because I don't.
Are you a bursary student?
Yeah, I am a bursary student.
Yeah, I was as well.
I understand that the courses are $300 per course now.
Which we don't really see that, We try to scrap them like
you're saying
$4 or $5.
From 75 to now
from $75
$300.
a course, yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still understand and respect that teachers need to be paid more.
Right.
So I could.
Well, that's I think that's a good angle because I read in some of the things you want to do for the country. Mm-hmm. This is a very ambitious alumnus, and I think you want to run for a leader of the party as well.
Well, we have a convention coming up
in
a matter of days on the 22nd and the 23rd of February.
Okay.
And so all positions are open at that point. And
boy, if y'all could see, y'all can't see. Look at the fire in her eyes.
You can
that
see
determination.
Yes.
There's a mingo in you, girl. I believe it. But I want to bring up one of your points that I read and I heard, which was that you're looking at ways to reduce educational costs through taxes. Explain.
Yes, well, currently now you pay a value-added tax on your tuition fees. I mean, when I was in school, we weren't paying any sort of tax. And like you said, I was only paying $75 a course back then. But while I was there, they talked about this expansion of the university and moving to university status, so I can understand the increasing cost to accommodate your professors as well as to accommodate the infrastructural work. But at the same time, we do not want to create a disincentive to persons pursuing education beyond high school.
Right.
And so value-added tax we see as a disincentive because it increases the cost of education by applying that tax to your
does, but
fees.
I want to kind of put a nice little tiny pin there because the angle and the direction we're heading as a university, we're trying to become self-funded or self-propelled.
Self-sufficient.
So we're looking for donations and capital campaigns, and that's why we had our golfing and our alumni events. And we're always doing stuff to bring in money so we can keep functioning, keep propelling.
Yes.
And the next thing that's happened is now we have a board of trustees.
Mm-hmm.
So before, when I was a COBUS president, we would sit on the board that would have like a government official, most likely a minister.
Correct.
And that minister would be either the chairperson
chairman
or
of the
somebody
board, yes.
of
The
influence.
chairman of the council,
So they
yes.
can report back
Yes.
to the party. And now you have a board that's autonomous of that, you know.
Yes.
We have individuals who are elected like the student body. When I was here as SGA president, you had to be on the board. So this year, Onassis Knowledge did something different.
Yeah.
He opted to let the students choose who they want to be on the board. So we had Jerron being elected to be on the board and be the student's voice. I said it to say, although politics is always relevant, you can't say it's not relevant.
Correct.
The university is moving in a direction through leadership and through innovation and creativity that I think something like this we have kind of hinted to. So you had an announcement that maybe soon we'll be having no cost for payments. And the policy that we just reenacted, well, not really reenacted, changed a little, allows for us now to compete internationally. So I'm going to just let you know which policy I'm talking about. People would think you need your BGCSEs to get into the University of the Bahamas, right? And just a few weeks ago, a lot of students aren't reading their emails. They don't know this yet, but we're doing campaigns to explain it. Basically, if you get a cumulative of, I believe it's a 2.5, 2 semesters back to back in high school, we take that. We're going to take an entrance exam that we're going to put forward. And when I came out, we did the entrance exam.
Yes, I did.
So I know very quickly if I was accepted to COB or not.
Correct.
And then we're going to prepare you in the system and start your orientation. That's going to allow us possibly to send you a letter maybe before even May.
Correct.
Versus we waiting for your
Before the results come out in
BGCSE, which we
August.
can't control,
Yes.
and it's a government entity. And then come August, second week in August, we send you letters. So we're changing our systems. And then along with what she's talking about, the bursary, you basically, I hear students, I understand it's expensive, but for me, when I was at COB, I kept my grades up. I kept over 3 I never really had a full-time job, but I had a few part-time jobs. And I got a free education, 2 degrees in 5 years.
Yes.
So
And
The classes for nursing are very expensive. Not the average student. For those who do in
but that's a
biochem,
nursing grant, right?
yeah, but you're not able to get the grant unless you have a certain qualifications, and the classes that they don't have sufficient teachers to teach the course. And it's a repetitive thing where you would have to take it again. If you fail it the next following year, they don't offer it again until
So-
next year.
And nursing has always been historically more expensive
Yes,
than the others
it's
because
one
they
of those
have
professions
higher
you have to
credits.
get-
You
you
know,
have to.
typically you have 3 credits, but they have 4 and 5
And they have
credits.
labs, and they
Right.
got to practice, and they got to
Yes.
do the.
But a lot of people in my nursing program right now are unable to complete the graduation level because of the funding. So this is the shortage for the nurses in the country.
So I want to ask a question about the grant firstly. If someone's on the grant, do they go through these same issues?
Keep in mind the grant doesn't cover uniform and tools that you need. So a lot of people don't have the income to pay for one uniform basis or $125, and you need several to do internship. So the grant doesn't pay for general ed courses, only strictly health classes. So if someone needs to, and it doesn't pay for repeated course, so if someone fails a course, that's $700, they gotta come out of.
She's saying basically it's expensive to be a nursing student. There are taxes, there's fees, there's just basically the operations to become a nurse. It's very expensive. It sounds like it's a bit discouraging because there aren't enough courses, not enough teachers, and you can't meet the timeline. I believe the university is propelling in a direction because they are hiring more people to make sure that that's resolved. I need to have a follow-up show after this to see if we could bring some answers, because I think this is the second time you brought this to our voice. And as somebody who's in charge of that, the public relations, I think it's my responsibility to come with answers. So give me some time to come back with some answers, and then let's have a further discussion.
you can make a concession from an education standpoint to incentivize persons, because you also have to bear in mind, just taking into fact costs, that it's not just students who would have just come out of the high school
Right.
system who are coming into UB.
It's
there are
different people,
persons, yeah.
islands.
So you have a diverse amount of persons,
So-
and persons who also have family lives outside of UB.
I want you to expand on what you're suggesting, because I think we should hear you out, especially as an alumnus. You would have a lot to offer.